Venus and Serena Williams are back in D.C. and sharing a powerful message of hope at the Southeast Tennis and Learning Center.
And they're off. D.C. gets a fresh start to the new year at Anacostia Park.
All of that, plus the top stories from the News Rundown, are straight ahead on this edition of We Are Washington. Welcome to We Are Washington. Coming up, our one-on-one interview with Venus and Serena Williams, who are on a mission to help victims of violence. Find out how two of the greatest athletes in the world are turning personal tragedy into hope and making a big impact off the court.
And a new year brings a new opportunity for a fresh start. We'll catch up with district residents as they hit the ground running with the mayor at Anacostia Park. All that and so much more. But first, here's the News Rundown.
2017 ended on a positive note in the district with a decrease in overall crime. Mayor Bowser joined Police Chief Peter Newsham to highlight the year-end crime reductions and the administration's multi-agency approach referred to as Safer, Stronger D.C.
I'm pleased to announce today that crime is decreasing here in our city. In 2017, we experienced a reduction in every single crime category for the calendar year. Our preliminary figures show a 22% reduction in reported violent crime and an 11% reduction in overall crime when compared to last year. These reductions and these numbers are some of the lowest numbers of violent crimes that we've had in our city in a very long time.
More than 400 of the city's most vulnerable families and individuals now have permanent housing thanks to a 2-month campaign called Home for the Holidays.
Mayor Bowser celebrated the campaign with a lease agreement signing at the Virginia Williams Family Resource Center, where 4 families received keys to their new homes. The campaign reflects a partnership between the city and landlords to work together to provide permanent homes for residents.
From 2016 to 2017, a reduction in overall homelessness by 10.5%, a 22% reduction in homelessness among families, and a 15% reduction among veterans. Those numbers represent real people, real moms and dads, real kids, real Washingtonians who need a safe place to live.
This is a very good opportunity. I'm in school and I have a part-time job and I'm just trying to better myself. So this experience has helped me to get on my feet and I really appreciate it. And we're excited, so thank you.
Thank you.
Increasing attendance at district public schools is the goal of an initiative called Every Day Counts. Mayor Bowser and DCPS Chancellor Antoine Wilson spoke to students at Jefferson Middle School Academy about the importance of attending school every day during a program celebrating the school's excellence in family engagement.
But your best involves you being present. Your best involves you figuring out a way to get to school. Because when you're in class and you are participating, you have the opportunity to learn. It doesn't really make a difference if you get everything the first time through, because no one gets everything the first time through. But being there every day allows you to hear it and learn it the second time or the third time, or maybe talk to a fellow student or classmate, ask a teacher in the hallway at lunch after school. And that's what helps us learn.
Reductions in crime, unemployment, and homelessness were among the accomplishments highlighted in Mayor Bowser's 2017 Accountability Report.
The Year 3 Accountability Report offers a comprehensive look at the progress on each of the goals the mayor laid out when she took office in 2015. Mayor Bowser presented the report at Gallaudet University and was joined by her cabinet and community members.
The district is indeed stronger than when we founded back in 2015. And I say that because our population is up, our revenues are up, our crime is down, our unemployment is down, we're creating more jobs, we're creating more housing. And we know that we've made tremendous progress and we still have the gas and the steam to make even more.
To view the 3rd Annual Accountability Report, visit mayor.dc.gov. Residents got to speak directly with leadership and staff from all of the agencies involved with D.C. economic development at the 2nd Annual DEMPED Open House.
really an opportunity to talk to people about all the things that we're doing, not just in my world as an example, but the Department of Energy Environment, Arts and Humanities, the Department of Insurance, Securities and Banking, the Office of Planning. A real opportunity that if people want to talk directly to the directors, they can do that, or generally if we have some information we're trying to get out to people, that we're able to do that in a clear and consistent way.
I think it's important for us, especially as entrepreneurs, to really know what's out there, what resources, what the jobs of these local agencies are. I think that's really the problem. A lot of times we're like, oh, there's this office that does this thing, but what actually is that thing? So being able to be in the space, ask the questions, get actual answers from the people who are leading these teams is really, really paramount to us being able to put our fingers on things that will help us be sustainable and to grow.
The agencies at the open house reflect a range of district services, from the Department of Consumer and Regulatory Affairs to the Department of Transportation. And we were also very happy to be there, along with the director of the Office of Cable Television, Film, Music, and Entertainment, Angie Gates.
The D.C. Department of General Services is calling on area schools to compete in an effort to cut down on plastic pollution. The Reduce First Challenge Plastic Edition is a 4-week competition where teams from D.C. area schools work to find creative ways to identify plastic waste and effectively reduce its levels. 3 schools will be awarded for Most Improved, Most Learning, and Most Replicable. The challenge is part of an effort to achieve the sustainable D.C. target of zero waste by 2032. To learn more or find out how you can compete, visit dgs.dc.gov.
All aboard the Metro Extra 59. The limited stop bus route along 14th Street Northwest officially launched and is giving residents a faster way to get down a busy corridor. The new service is part of an effort to enhance bus service on priority routes and connect activity centers through wards 1, 2, and 4.
For decades, he has been known as the voice of the Washington Senators, the City Open Tennis Tournament, and the official president's announcer for 15 inaugural parades of 10 different commanders-in-chief. Now, Charlie Brotman is being recognized by the D.C. Council for his lifetime of service to his hometown, Washington, D.C., with an official recognition of a ceremonial resolution on his 90th birthday. Following a unanimous vote by the council and official presentation, Charlie likened the honor to that of some of his big moments that defined his announcing career.
I feel like I'm back at Griffith Stadium getting ready to introduce the President of the United States, throwing out the ceremonial first pitch. It's just such a wonderful gift for my hometown, and that's everything to me.
Luxury vehicles, exotic sports cars, and even something a little more practical if that's your speed. The Washington Auto Show has something on display for anyone who considers himself a car enthusiast. Rated one of the top auto shows in the country by the International Organization of Motor Vehicle Manufacturers, the Washington Auto Show offers visitors an up-close look at more than 600 new models by 35 car makers. The 10-day public show at the Washington Convention Center offers a wide array of exhibits, interactive games, and even test drives, giving attendees the chance to try out cutting-edge car technology firsthand.
Well, there's a lot going on today, but we have a quick few minutes just to recap everything. I want to start with the story about the crime reduction and the crime stats the mayor highlighted with Chief Newsham and the Department of Forensic Sciences. I thought it was a great opportunity to talk about what they're trying to do to connect young people in high school in the district to forensic sciences. They're trying to encourage people to contact them about work study and internships. They really want to see people reach out and follow that career path. So I think that's a really neat aspect to that story.
I enjoyed hearing about the everyday counts because
very important.
Attendance is so critical.
Yes.
I liked what the chancellor was telling students because sometimes I think people underestimate how important it is to just show up. And he was saying, sometimes you don't get everything right away, but if you'll get a little piece here and a little piece there. And even some attendance missing school is associated with later dropping out. So it's a really great message for young people.
Lastly, I want to talk about Charlie Brotman. Charlie Brotman, I mean, a DC icon. If you're, into politics or sports, you've definitely heard his voice in some aspect. And he's been around doing the inauguration parade for, like we said, multiple inaugurations, multiple presidents. And it was a really, really nice event where the DC Council was able to honor him and the work that he's done for his hometown, Washington,
Yeah,
DC.
great to see him honored like that. We also had the honor of interviewing the man who is now took over for Charlie and is the next voice of the inaugural parade.
Local announcer Steve Ray, that's right. Yeah,
definitely. Coming up next, our exclusive interview with Venus and Serena Williams as they visit the Southeast Tennis and Learning Center with a message of hope for victims of violence.
And later in the show, residents follow in the mayor's footsteps at the 4th annual Fresh Start 5K. Venus and Serena Williams are two of the greatest female tennis players of all time, and their improbable rise to the top of their sport is legendary.
But despite all the fame and fortune, the Williams sisters are devoted to giving back, and they have a special place in their heart for the Southeast Tennis and Learning Center right here in the district. Take a look.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
Tennis player. I would like to be a tennis player.
The extraordinary rise of Venus and Serena Williams is considered the greatest American sports story ever. Their journey began on rundown public tennis courts in Compton, coached by their father, a former sharecropper, who taught himself the game. From these humble beginnings, the Williams sisters defied all the odds and made it to the top of the tennis world, where they have reigned supreme for decades.
On Serena's side.
But it wasn't an easy road, and along the way they faced plenty of challenges. Most heartbreaking of all, the tragic death of their older sister, Yetunde Price, who was murdered in Compton in 2003. At a recent event at the Southeast Tennis and Learning Center, Venus and Serena joined Cora Masters-Berry to raise awareness about violence and its impact on families.
The best part of it all is we have memories, and through we become stronger, and also through we're able to help other people. And so to take the opportunity to help the community, to help others, and to turn that pain into hope.
Well, you know, the theme is it's a family affair, and this is truly family. When we first opened this center, they were here with me. This center was built in the same kind of community where they grew up and where they came out of, and also where the Yetunde Price Resource Center is located. So it's really very connected.
And Serena, tell me, what do you hope to accomplish with the Yetunde Price Center?
Well, the Yetunde Price Resource Center is geared to helping others. And we've dealt with loss and losing our sister Yetunde, and we want to remember her and honor her and help others that have dealt with loss. Every day, people out there are losing someone that they love. And what do you do? What do you do? Where do you go? And that's what the Resource Center is about, and so we're really excited for it. The work we're doing is twofold, of course, to help stop violence, but also for those affected by violence, we want to be able to have answers for them, because a lot of times you don't know what your options are, and there are a lot of options, there's a lot of assistance. So we're here to hopefully hold people's hand through that every step of the way, long after, you know, the people stop visiting, the cards stop coming, and the pies stop coming. There's life to deal with. And that's where we are. That's why we're here.
What do you think it would have been like to have a tennis center like this in your own neighborhood growing up?
That would have been scary if Venus and I had a center like this. I think it would have been maybe too much. We would have been so much better. It would have been crazy. Well, all you need is a court and someone to hold your hand. We were fortunate to have our family, every single one behind us. Not every child has that, but because of the Resource Center, they have a court, they have an education, they have someone to hold their hand. And so the whole cycle is replicated, and there's an unbelievable amount of success that's coming out of here.
Okay. Drop shot. That's what I'm talking about.
I love all y'all. Like, seeing you guys is extremely motivating for me. And it's, the energy you guys have on the court, I love it. So thank you. Love you.
Coming up next, dust off those running shoes. It's time for a fresh start. Welcome back to We Are Washington. The district has one of the lowest uninsured rates across the nation, with more than 96% of residents covered. But the city is working hard to get to 100% coverage with DC HealthLink. And here to tell us about it is Mila Kaufman, Executive Director for DC Health Benefit Exchange Authority. Director Kaufman, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
First of all, just in general, tell us about DC HealthLink.
Sure. DC HealthLink is DC's online health insurance marketplace for individuals, families, and small businesses.
And this is the 5th open enrollment since the ACA markets opened up. And I know this time you might be experiencing some differences than other years. So tell me a little bit about what it's been like with open enrollment this year versus prior years.
So in prior years, we had a lot of support from the federal government. In fact, the federal government invested millions of dollars in media and in outreach. This open enrollment, unfortunately, the federal government cut back 90% of their investment. So we had to get a little bit more creative in how we advertise and how we educate people. Also, the federal government decided to cut their open enrollment in half. So people have a lot less time if they live in a state like Virginia or other states that rely on the federal government. We, of course, decided that because we're a state-based marketplace, we can do what's best for our residents, and we have a longer open enrollment. In fact, people have until January 31st to select a health plan and to enroll here in DC.
What would you like to tell people who hear about possible changes to the Affordable Care Act and people who might be worried and might think maybe it's not even worth it?
So we're here to advocate for all of our customers, our small business customers and individual customers who rely on affordable health insurance coverage for themselves and their families. And we have convened an ACA working group to look at local policy solutions that will help make our health insurance even more affordable for people and make sure that our private health insurance market stays stable. In fact, recently the tax legislation, as you know, repealed the individual responsibility requirement. After that happened, Mayor Bowser asked us to reconvene our working group to look at local policy interventions to make sure that we keep DC moving forward.
Right, so what we want to talk about, obviously, is that you still do have time, is that the deadline is the 31st of January. And there are other places around the country that are having extended deadlines too. But tell me a little bit about the importance of having that extra time for signing up, the benefit that DC residents have behind that extra time.
So people believe, and they're right, that health insurance is complicated. It's not easy. And people need a lot of time, and some people need more time than other people. Also, some of us wait till the last minute until the deadline. And what we've learned each open enrollment is most of our enrollment comes at the very end. And we felt it was very important to give DC residents all the time that they need to make an informed choice and get enrolled. We have free help. You can either go to dchealthlink.com or call our call center or go to one of our enrollment sites. The help is free to you. So if you have any questions about the choices or even things like what is copay, what is coinsurance, we have help available to you.
Great information. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks so much for being here. Well, getting healthy and staying healthy tops the list of everyone's New Year's resolutions, right? So here's a look at a DC favorite, a tradition that gets people running right at the beginning of the new year, the 4th annual Fresh Start Fit DC 5K.
To begin a new year, there's nothing quite like the feel of having a fresh start.
Good morning, DC!
Hundreds of DC runners of all kinds are lacing up, braving the cold, and putting wellness first as the new year begins.
Woo! Runners, walkers, slow globe trotters, we want them all. Let's line up. Let's get in what we came to do.
They're joining Mayor Bowser for what has become a New Year's Day tradition.
We want everybody to go into the new year right.
The 4th annual Fit DC Fresh Start 5K race.
4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year!
Starting off the new year with wellness top of mind is all part of Mayor Bowser's Fit DC initiative, encouraging residents to live healthy. These runners are starting the new year with a sense of accomplishment and the chance to explore another part of the city.
Y'all look great! Looking great! We're looking good too! Get it!
This year's race kicks off a year-long celebration of a century's legacy. Runners are traversing Anacostia Park as part of the Year of the Anacostia.
Happy New Year! Happy New Year!
As they gasp a large breath of cold air,
Nice! Keep it going! Keep it going!
get a pat on the back for their efforts, and take the final steps across the finish line, they're also taking the first steps towards good health in the new year.
Good job, man. Good job. Good job.
That about it does it for this show, but we do have time for one last thing.
Well, we were talking about the Washington Auto Show, which is the convention center.
A lot of fun.
And we did a feature story last year about it. And one of the things that we were talking about in our story was that you can go out there and have the opportunity to do a test drive. The brand new cars
Right.
that are available, touchscreen technology in the cars, all the bells and whistles, right? We got about a 1/10 of a mile down the road, you can see. And all of a sudden it dawned on me, I'm in a car owned by Toyota here in the
Right.
streets of DC. And maybe a test drive of a Toyota isn't the best idea out here today. It's your car, it's one thing, but when you go and you're driving somebody else's car, you get a
Right.
little bit nervous, right? Especially when it's a car that hasn't even been released yet.
You can't bring it back all dinged up.
They won't let you
No.
bring it back dinged up. Now, she told me I did a good job driving in parallel parking, but I think that maybe she was playing it up for the camera.
I have a feeling they tell everybody that.
They might,
I mean,
well,
I mean, no
especially-
offense, but
Especially when they have a camera sitting there too, right? But it was good fun to be able to go and test out a car that wasn't available to be bought at that point, and check out the new technology like we talked about too. That was kind of fun.
well, now that you've said that, I will never do a test drive, so thank you.
That's right.
Okay.
All right. Well, that is all the time that we have for today, but we'd like to thank you for joining us and remind you if you'd like to see any of our other previous shows or shows in the future, go to YouTube and search Entertain DC or listen to us on DC Radio. It's 96.3 HD4.
See you next time.